Hey, welcome. If it's Thursday at 1 o'clock, it is Think Tank Thursday, and I'm so excited today because we have our number one Think Tank fan on as our guest today, Derwin Jordan from EVO Entertainment. Derwin, I think you've probably seen more Think Tank presentations, and you've usually been there and watching them while they're happening. You're not one of the guys that watches them later. You must have. Did you mark your calendar at 1 o'clock on Thursdays and make sure you were there? How did you become such a raving fan?
You know, it starts with something you taught us years ago, and that self development, is so important. And I try to find these things either on LinkedIn or there's different platforms, and I know that I've been working with and speaking with Laura. Just some of the things that y'all have on your website that's just out there for the general public. As general managers, the higher you go up the ladder, the less feedback you tend to get. So you're not out, trying to still be that sponge and soak up, as much as you can. It's always a little nugget here and there that can help you down.
Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, it's not lost on me that you're almost always there on Thursdays. And so, my commitment about Think Tank Thursday is that we're so wrapped up in the busy. There's always so many things to do. We referred to it at the beginning of all of this break time that we've had with COVID. I called it, we're going to not be in the frenzy of busy. And of course, I feel like I've found a way to stay busier than ever, or as busy as ever. But on Thursdays at 1 o'clock, we just want to take the time to stop and think about what's most important. What should we be thinking about right now? And gosh, there's a whole lot of things to be contemplating at this time. Derwin's a long-term, not just a fan on Think Tank or Entertainment, but I would say a long-term friend. We've known each other over a decade. And I've been watching you. I've been watching EVO. Y'all have done some very interesting things since the beginning, and I just want to know. We want to know how you're doing. What's really stood out to you? How you feeling?
Feeling really good. One of the things that when this thing happened, and what has made EVO such an amazing opportunity for me is that the GMs in this company are a part of the conversation.
Oh, nice.
When this thing first happened, we all jumped on a call and was like, where do we go from here? And we started from day one. We started the process of, what we're going to do from a mass standpoint, because at the end of the day, we are the professionals at taking temperatures. We've been wearing gloves. This is stuff that we've been doing in this industry as an everyday practice. So it wasn't new to us. So how do we find that thing? And anybody that you that have worked with me over the years, if you were to ask them if Derwin ever steps outside the box or always comes up with some kind of crazy thing to do to build sales, I'm that guy. So, we first started working with, and I say I give a lot of credit to, Mitchell and Charlie, our, CEO and president. Like, they were involved with the mayor's office, number one, and one of the things that they said was, here in Kyle, we could use another grocery store. And they were like, well, let's become a grocery store. And
wow.
I think we all kind of chuckled at it, but at the end of the day, we threw some eggs and butter and milk and all these different things on the website. And we started getting like over 100 orders a day in some cases.
What?
HEB was at 3 days for delivery at that point. So, and it was just those things. And again, over time, I remember Jay Molinar, one of my mentors over the years, he would always share the example. He said, Derwin, if you had a window that when you open up that window, people just walk up and throw money in it. All you got to do is open the window and people walk up and throw money in it. Would you ever close that window?
No, never.
No,
Never.
no, you wouldn't. In fact, I would try to figure out how to open a second window.
Yeah, yeah. Where do I can get some more windows? Yes, you bet.
So that was one of the things that and I'm still in touch with him. I'm like, Jay, we opened the window. We kept it open. So, from there, it went from everyday conversations with the management team on Zoom. We were talking leadership. We couldn't talk game room. We couldn't talk bowling. We couldn't talk any of this stuff, but we could talk leadership. And that's the one thing from a management team that, and as a company, we wanted to lead this thing forward. Before we even knew we could open up, Charlie and Mitchell were ordering masks and things of that nature. We were working on how could we pay the employees, these different things, but just making your managers a part of that conversation has been such a refreshing opportunity for us out here in Kyle.
That's great. Would you say there's been more communication with management and with staff than
Absolutely. And it trickles down, right? So
yes.
we were getting that communication from the top, and then I was making sure that I communicated it to the management team, and then we had managers assigned to call in employees every day. Have you had any symptoms? What in the last 14 days? Have you had these symptoms? How are you feeling? And we kept in touch with those people, and thanks to the marketplace, we were able to keep all of our core staff employed, and then now we're ready to bring on the rest of them as we start to head towards getting back to that, 50% and opening the game room.
That's great. That's great. How is business?
Business has been consistent since we opened. Like, people aren't knocking down the doors, but what I'm seeing, Beth, is the people that are coming out are careful. Even when we were requiring masks, we were actually providing them for the guests, but most of them were coming in with them.
Okay.
And staff, we haven't had any pushback from the staff. They're looking for the mask. They're holding us accountable. If they see us, without ours, and we're trying to set that. But yeah, I'm seeing that people are starting to get more comfortable. When we open the bowling lanes, people are coming out, they're bowling, and you're starting to see that normalcy kind of rear its head,
Good.
And start to peep and just see what are the other people doing, right? So
that's interesting, Derwin, because I do think it's about that, right? I think a lot of it is about what the other guy is doing. I just finished up an article for Replay Magazine that'll be produced next month, and I put that oh gosh, now it just leaves me the theory about early adopters, the late adopters, because that's what happens. You've got, I love the way you did it. Like, they're picking their head over to see, everybody's watching to see what the early people are going to do first,
right,
and how that's going to work. Are y'all doing movies? Is the theater open?
Yeah, we've been doing movies. We've tried to bring back things that people want to see, in a theater. Like, even though it's out, you can see it on Netflix, but you don't want to see Jaws at home. You want to come see that, and with this Dolby surround sound.
That's right. You feel like you're in the water.
Yeah, and the other big success we had was opening our drive-in. We painted a 40-foot screen on the side of the building, and we've been able to get several cars a night. We just finished up with National Drive-In Night. It was $1 a car, and we had several people come out and see Back to the Future. Because
I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was brilliant, and kind of kept up on LinkedIn with the fact that you did that early on and got shut down, which I thought was just so silly, because if I'm in my car and you're in your car, we're pretty physically distant, and so I was disappointed, but I love the ingenuity. So I've been seeing the ingenuity of your company all the way through. Darren, I gotta bring up the whole relationship with the community. You've talked about relationships with with your management team and how you've enhanced that communication and with team members. Well, it's crazy that our relationship spans a decade, because I know people that worked for you 3 places ago, more than a decade ago, that would come to you for counsel, advice. Isn't that right? I mean, and what's interesting is I still have really good relationships with those people who work for you, which I'm assuming part of that mentorship happened right there through you.
Yeah, I think if I wasn't in Kyle, Texas, I'd probably have several more people, that could come out and spend some time with me. But, it's important early on, when I spent 14 years with Dave and Buster's, and one of the companies I think that has been the best, to do it, almost the birth of the FEC, certainly the ones that took it off, right?
Yeah.
And it was just so much being under people like Buster Corley and, Dave Corbeau, who just taught that, that's where I got that sponge from,
Is that right?
Yeah, Felicia Mays was my mentor when I first got promoted to management, and she was like, Derwin, just look at all of this talent that surrounds you. She was like, you just got to be a sponge and soak it up, because a lot of times you can be that employee that's been with the company, 10, 12 years, and you think, man, I know the system, and I know, I knew everything there was to know, about Dave and Buster's. But what I started to learn was leadership from different people. And you start to take, that good from every single person, and you start to put that into your everyday management style. And, that's what, when you develop relationships, it's different from just being a coworker, right? When you have a relationship, I just had a conversation with one of my managers that when we took over when Dave and Buster's bought Jillian's, I just had a conversation last night with Maja. She was one of my bowl managers. She worked bowling every night, and she was always there. And she reached out to me, and I still have the same phone number. And we're talking like we're still working together, but we're all out here in this industry. We're all working hard, and it's about that everyday knowledge that you can never get too old in this business where you can't learn and absorb, the things that we're trying to do right now.
That's awesome. So of all the bazillion things that you've soaked in over the years, what are some of the things that seem to have helped you the most now in this time that there is no playbook for this time, right? We've never done this before. You've opened lots of places and things like this, yet this is different.
Beth, you have to share the knowledge. We get so much knowledge, and we learn so many, and one of the things that my father shared with me before he passed away, he asked me, he was like, son, what's the most expensive piece of real estate in the world? And I'm going, I don't know, the Empire State Building. Like I'm going all this stuff, and he goes, no, it's the graveyard. I'm like, the graveyard? What? And he was like, so many people take $1 million ideas to the grave, and they don't share them. And he was like, don't be that person. When you get this knowledge, it's your responsibility, to share it with somebody else, and the secret to this business is that you can never move up until you have somebody ready to take your position. So you got to constantly be developing, I treat this industry like a baseball farm system, right? We get them in 16, 17 years old, first job, if you make those people matter in the sense that you train them correctly, you get them the knowledge that they need, you listen to them, you hold them accountable.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's the biggest thing, that there's not a lot of accountability as it comes to our younger our younger kids, but after they've been there 3-4 years, you know, I spent 4 years with Jesse Chalou at Chick-fil-A when I was in high school. And when I graduated, I got $1,000 scholarship from them.
Oh, wow. Wow.
As an investment into your child's career, you know, they should be coming out of there 3-4 years. They should be ready to be a manager or
Yes.
you know, something. If you're not seeing that kind of growth from your child, then you know it's something that you probably a conversation that probably needs to be had.
Why do you think that a lot of people, you know, one of my favorite quotes, and we have it in our Fun Training Series Results book, and it is that, what if I train them and they leave? However, what if I don't train them and they stay? Yes, which is much worse. But I'll tell you, you know, as the CEO of a coaching and a training organization, we see everything. And listen, I was on site, and I have my own company where it is tough at times. It's tough to find the time to train. It's tough to have the patience to coach and things like that. You've made it a real priority, it sounds like. And so I wonder, do you have any tips about juggling the time and managing your own patience level?
So the biggest thing, Beth, is that it's easy not to train. That's if we're being honest, you know, there's nothing about, you know, if you take my industry, if I have to train you more than 3 days on how to sweep a theater and make sure there's no popcorn on the floor, you know, then this is probably not the job for you. End of the day, that's not what we're hiring for. We're not hiring for somebody to just come in and clean theaters. And that's where I think where we learned the group interview. And I'll never forget the first time that I sat through one of those, and we're having them do the hand dance and and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. What are we going to know out of this person? Well, when you do something like that, you're able to see if they can come out of that shell, because what we sell in this industry is an experience. You know, for us, you can drop, you know, $20 on movie tickets. You can drop another $25, $30 on the concession stand. If you want to go bowl, that's about another, you know, 25, you know, it's not free to come in here. So you've got a family that could walk out of here with $150 and have nothing in their hands to show for it. Right. So,
but hopefully a good memory.
Yeah. And that's my point. Yeah. So you have to have a staff that, you know, when they walk by, hey, how was everything today? Is there anything you can do? You know, one of my other favorite guys who actually, you know, he was an Incredible Pizza. He was a senior and I was the general manager and he was just a supervisor. Now he's big time over there at Bolero, but James.
James, I know James.
You know, one of the things I got a chance to work with him at Bolero for a little bit. And one of the things that he said that just blew my mind, he said, Derwin, go up to the party and ask them, what can I do to make your visit better right now?
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I'm the mentor. You're not. But when we did that, and when you went and you said that to that guest right now, you know, it makes them pause and they go, wait, I'm good, you know, but they actually had to think about it, whether or not they were good. And I hope I don't get in trouble for sharing that, but you know, that was one of the things that, you know, he's an amazing guy, and we knew it from when he was 17, but it's one of those things that we have got to elevate the experience, right? And people have got to walk out of our doors with the idea now, and it's even more, like you said, with the COVID, they've got to walk out of our doors first, understanding that they felt comfortable, that our employees were washing hands, that we were sanitizing games. Like, this is a different day and age, you know? And that's why we've written on our website for evocinemas.com we posted all 3 of our phases that we were going to do. We posted that months ago. And, you know, we're coming up on phase 3, but evocinemas.com, it has all 3 of our phases. And we were talking about this from the beginning. So when our guests leave, you know, number one, they've got to feel comfortable to tell somebody else that, yeah, it's cool. Y'all can go see these guys because, you know, they've got it taken care of. You know, they're taking your temperature, they're asking questions and things of that nature. So, you know, and then on top of that, they've had to have fresh popcorn, and they got checked on when they were at the bowling, you know, doing managers hitting every single table and not letting one stone unturned. Manager visibility, you know, just having managers on the floor now so that people can answer those. We don't want those hard questions to have to be answered, you know, by a 16 or 17-year-old. We want to have that conversation and show that we're out and visible, and that we're ready to do this thing, that we got it, and that we're leading forward with it.
Well, that's wonderful. And I've got to imagine that those young people see that leadership, see that model, because that's how they learn. That is one of the ways, that's one of the very best ways that people can learn, by watching and seeing, because then they can try it with confidence. When that's fantastic. It certainly sounds like you guys have got the ball rolling in a big way down there in South Texas, and I wish you all great success. I know it's a great company, and they've got a great leader in you, and I can't wait to see the big things that you all do. I really appreciate my top fan of ThinkTank coming to finally be a guest. We've been trying to get this put together for months, and I know you know that I won't let you go until you answer the Think Tank question. You know, at Trainertainment, we're obsessed with growing people. We think that truly our core purpose in life is to help people grow, because we know when that happens, businesses grow, communities get better, families improve. You know, we're real obsessed with that. And so, to that end, what do you do on a pretty consistent basis? What do you do specifically to help yourself grow, Derwin?
Well, I've continued to keep my head in different books. You know, one of the things that I read that was phenomenal, so much so that I just read it again, was "It's Your Ship." It was a book that was given to us years ago. And it just talks about, you know, taking ownership and being able to take ordinary people and make them extraordinary.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I think that's a big focus on just what we need in this industry, because a lot of times when you're hiring people and it's their first job, you know, you hire for personality and you train for skill.
That's right.
That's the main focus of what we do. So you've got to invest, you know, so much time in other people that you can't afford not to invest that time in yourself. So, you know, and this is why we spend time on LinkedIn. This is why, you know, anytime there's a free, for Think Tank Thursday on Facebook, if you can't spend, you know, 15, 20 minutes to kind of just get a nugget here and there, it may not always fit, you know, everything that I'm trying to do. But it does eventually give me something to either share with somebody else or, you know, keep involved in communicating, because I am in the business of developing people, and that's where most of my successes come from.
That's awesome. I'll tell you, you're so, just in listening to you, you're so consistent about where your heart is that as soon as you get it, you want to give it away. And I think that's part of your gift. I really think that it is. And I'm so happy that you took time with me today. We'll have to do this again. We're going to get away from this COVID thing, and many great things are going to happen. I've talked about unintended outcomes, and you're going to have some wonderful stories about your team. And I can't wait to hear them. And I love that you're always with us. I feel I feel you all the time, brother. And I'm glad you're part of the trainertainment community, and I look forward to getting down to Kyle, Texas sooner than later.
Come on down.
All right. Thank you, Derwin.
All right.